Welcome to the Bad Fan Podcast. I am your host, Cole Just kidding. My name is Brandon Patesnick, and we are so glad to have you tuned in with us today. Cole couldn't make it tonight, but you'll see him later this week. No worries at all. So I'll be hosting. If you're listening on Spotify, then a big welcome to you. Thanks for joining us today. And if you're viewing this on YouTube, leave a like for us. It only takes a second and helps us out a whole bunch. If you're new to the podcast, then we'd be honored if you'd subscribe. So just go ahead and hit that for us. And then if you want to stick around with us, hit that bell so you never miss anything that we post. And as always, I'm going to steal a line from Cole. I cannot do this alone. So I'm joined by my good friend, Steven Curl, tonight. Welcome back. Together, we will take a journey through the world of sports, giving you an informative rundown on the headlines that you need to know, discussing our views that may go against the grain of normal fans. Steven, it's nice to see you back in here. How was your week last week? How was your weekend? Tell me about it.
Yeah, it was good to see you. Missed last week's pod on the latter half of the week, but busy week. I worked like 11, 12 hours on Friday, so I was very tired. Had family, Easter weekend, holidays, all that fun stuff. So I got to see a lot of family. But yeah, it was good. What about yourself?
No, it was good. We missed you last week because Real Madrid, your dark horse, went through. I just wanted to give you a second to talk about that.
They're a dark horse,
I guess so.
Yeah, no, the Real Madrid. I mean, with risk of being sounding like a broken record, they know Champions League. They might lose some random La Liga games, but they know this competition. And Ancelotti, I was reading about him actually this morning, and I think if he wins, he's like one of the best coaches because he's almost won every single league in Europe or something. Wow. And he's won tons of UCLs too. So yeah, they're gonna win it, but it's fine.
Well, I don't know if you watched last week, but I think we gave some predictions. So maybe next week when the Champions League comes back, we'd like to hear your predictions on that.
That's great.
They also won this weekend. They beat Sevilla in a crazy fashion. Sevilla was up 2-0. They came back, won 3-2 with Benzema scoring the last goal. Okay, enough about the Real Madrid. Let's get into some of the news from this past week. And we'll start with some sad news. Cristiano Ronaldo, probably the most famous athlete ever of all time. He and his partner, Georgina, I think I pronounced that correctly, lost their newborn son this weekend. So our thoughts go out to them and the family. I could imagine what that's like. So very, very sad moment for them. But moving on, we're going to hop into the NFL for just a second. The Browns on Monday signed Pro Bowl cornerback Denzel Ward to a 5-year, $100.5 million contract extension, which includes $71.25 million guaranteed. I believe that's per Adam Schefter. He's only 24 years of age, and this contract extension will make him the highest paid cornerback in NFL history. Roughly, he'll be making about $20.1 million per year. He's also a former Buckeye, so it's good to see the Buckeyes in the NFL. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of dogs in the NFL as well. But whenever I can brag on some Ohio State players, I always try to. So good for him. Congrats on that extension. And the Browns, we'll see what happens this year. They're sort of in a mess. Moving right along, though, to the NBA playoffs. Steve, you want to start us off with the Hawks game?
Yeah, the Hawks ended up beating the Cavs in this the play-in, right? That's this new stuff going on. Playing games, beat the Cavs 107-101. It was a good game. Hawks grew into it. The Cavs will be really good the next couple of years. Great team, but point spread through the team. But Ice Trey, the gang, I believe he had the most points scored this year in the NBA.
Yeah, and the most assists.
That was only one player's done that before, right?
Only one. He's the only player to have ever done it in the NCAA and also the NBA.
Yes. So that is helping the Hawks tremendously, but didn't help them against the Miami Heat. I went to my aunt's house on Easter Sunday. I looked at the TV for 2 seconds, saw the Hawks were losing by 30, and decided to walk out to the back porch. You want to talk a little bit more about that one, Brandon?
Yeah, it was not a great game, but at least the Hawks made it there, right? They won the playing game against the Cavs. It was a really good game, and they moved on to face the 1 seed Miami Heat, like you just said. I don't have a great feeling about this first round, but we'll see. I think Trey scored very, very low. He had an off night, so I don't see that happening again. But
I saw him have a comment in the post game too about how he didn't make it an excuse, but he was saying that their legs were pretty tired after traveling around the Charlotte and Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm sure I could see that. But on the other side of the bracket, on the other final playing game, the Pelicans beat the Clippers 105-101. With Marcus Morris scoring 27 points with 9 rebounds and Reggie Jackson with 27 points, 8 assists, and 7 rebounds. It wasn't enough because Brandon Ingram went off with 30 points and CJ McCollum came in second on the scoring list for the Pelicans with 19 points. So, yeah, they go on and they face probably the best team in the NBA, the Phoenix Suns. I think they played already. Yes, they did, and the Suns won. So there's only been one game played. I think there was a couple games tonight, Monday, as we're recording this. So maybe a couple second games played. But the NBA playoffs are well underway. If you're not following, you might not need to follow right now. Wait for the later stages. But it's going to be on every day of the week. So if you don't have anything else to watch, definitely tune into that. Steve, I haven't been watching much MLB, to be completely honest with you. I've been keeping up with soccer and a couple basketball games, but the MLB is going on. The first couple weeks are happening. Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. MLB is going on, and I have a few talking points. I had a scary moment on Sunday with Mike Trout getting nailed in the hand and exiting the game with an 81 miles per hour slider. Exited the game, went immediately, got an MRI, but it came back positive and clean, so that's really good. Looking back on it, it's kind of one of those, he actually backed into it and like exposed and got hit right on the back of his hand. It didn't look good. And that's one of these injuries that could kill the Angels' playoff hopes just with one player. All that being said, though, LA, I believe they're 6-3 right now. They're up close to the top of the AL West, so that's going on. Another fun thing that happened, that the Yankees are not as good as Yankees fans would hope that they would be. I know it's early on in the year. This is probably my overreaction, but they went to Baltimore and they lost 2 out of 3 to one of the worst teams in baseball. And that will be one of the worst teams in baseball this year, just after losing to Toronto in some dramatic fashion of Vladimir Guerrero going yard 3 times in one game against the Yankees. It's kind of almost meme worthy at those points. So that was amazing. Colorado early on in the season, again, overreactions here because the season just got started. Colorado 6-3 and 1 game back from San Fran and LA, which is kind of crazy to think. They're hitting the ball, like we knew they can and would. Chris Bryant has been a godsend. CJ Cron's mashing the ball right now. So yeah, I am tempted to believe that Colorado can stick around this year. Doesn't make sense, really. I believe Cole Carter earlier on in one of our MLB previews was saying, Chris Bryant moving to Colorado kind of didn't make sense for him. Not really playing for anything, but who knows? You never know. And Brandon, I want to send this to you too. The Braves struggling a little bit early on in this go around. They're 1 game under 500. They're playing the Los Angeles Dodgers right now. Starting pitching's been looking a little iffy. Do you think that they're going to be okay, or is there cause for concern at all, you think?
I expected this, to be honest, not like as a World Series hangover, but, we made a run last year and we got it right. The team's not too much different than last year. I'd say that they're probably better. The Braves have also been trying out a couple new pitchers, like younger guys, I believe. I think you can check me on that. But so yeah, I think they're trying a little bit of experimenting on this front part of the season, especially in the first couple of weeks, and they're going to solidify what they need to as they get towards the middle of the season and the meat of the schedule. I don't think it's time to freak out about it. That's obviously a biased take, maybe a level-headed take, but I think the Braves will definitely be fine.
Yeah, I think the Braves will definitely be fine. It's a little bit of an overreaction. We saw Ian Anderson went out in his first start of the year and got shelled and pulled from the game. He had a great start in San Diego, looking like his old self. Acuna is starting his rehab assignment with the Gwinnett Stripers coming up this week. I might try to go make a game over there. And then once you get Acuna back into this team, and Ozzy's only hitting 200. He has 4 bombs, but a lot of players just aren't hitting to their potential, especially Dansby Swanson. But yeah, the starting pitching will definitely get better, I think. And I think we'll be okay. But another thing I want to talk about is Albert Pujols hits number 681. Kudos to you, Albert. If you didn't get a chance to see it, it was a game-tying home run against Milwaukee. He hit it in like the third deck. And I think he's going to get to 700 this year.
That'd be awesome.
The man's got pop. And I just love his batting stance, too. He just stands in that box with authority the same way when he was like 25 years old. It's amazing. But yeah, he's going to be a fun spot in that DH little area for the Cardinals this year. But yeah, another thing I want to talk about is the San Francisco Giants manager, Gabe Kepler, got under a little bit of scrutiny for one of his players, I believe bunting in a game where they were up by like 7 runs or so. I forget. I think it was in like the Royals or something. But and the other team's manager is freaking out, talking about you just don't do that. It's one of the unwritten rules in baseball.
And I'm glad you brought this up because Cole and I talked about it in the last podcast, and I know you have some opinions. So let them rip. We want to hear them all. You're our baseball guy, so please just let it all out.
Now that Gabe Kepler's not in Philly, he's in San Francisco. I'm a big Gabe Kepler guy. I think his post game interview summed it up phenomenal, talking about all these unwritten rules in baseball and what you do and what you don't do, old school versus new school. He says, if we don't want a team to bunt, we defend the bunt. If we don't want a team to steal, as in being up 10-0, getting stolen on, we defend the steal. If we don't want a team to swing 3-0 when you're up by a ton, you like hit a home run, then we throw a ball. And that's I mean, I think that's beautiful. It's kind of this new style of management in the MLB of things that you do and you don't do. And we have a lot of exciting new people coming up in the majors right now. Fernando Tatis, for one, got in trouble by his manager for hitting a grand slam because he didn't hit the grand slam when he was supposed to hit the grand slam. Because you don't hit the grand slam, you just stop competing. You're supposed to turn it off, which I think is ludicrous. But yeah,
have you ever been to a game that you might have left early or anything? Cole and I were at a game when we were younger where the Braves were up, I think by like 7 runs towards the end, and we ended up coming back and winning, but we had left. And I said ever since then I would never leave a game early, no matter what sport. I would never leave early. I didn't leave the Braves game. Was it when we played the Cardinals? Was it where we were down 11-0, 10-0 in the first inning? That was painful. We didn't come back, by the way. But in the playoffs, 5th game of the playoffs. But yeah, have you ever experienced that firsthand?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think there's a Cubs game I went to with my parents, and I think it's when. Or was it a Cubs game? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, it was a Phillies game, actually. And with Jonathan Papelbon is when he was the closer for the Phillies. Chipper Jones ends up hitting a walk-off 3-run home run after we were down by a million. And it was one of the best baseball memories of my life. And same thing after that. I mean, you don't leave the games early. And it's, I think, part of building even character is also suffering with your teams as well. So if you get a 10 spot on maybe in the first inning like you did watching the St. Louis game, that loss is going to stick with you, and it's going to
Totally.
make the victories that much sweeter. So it's kind of the true fan. So I guess I'm a little bit old school in that term, but yeah, you don't leave. You don't leave. And in my opinion, if you got a guy like Ronald Acuna, Fernando Tatis that can hit a ball 450 feet, I want to see that. The fans are there for the entertainment, and I think that's just some of the disconnect to the old school and new school. I think it's just these unwritten rules are just dumb.
Yep. Yeah, that's basically what we said last week. Yeah, baseball's in a weird spot with all that. They're trying to change a lot of rules to make it more fun, but you still have a lot of the old heads in there making decisions. So it's a really interesting thing. But one last point in the MLB I want you to talk about is the Aaron Judge situation. It's really interesting in New York. I've seen some things about Aaron Judge's contract that he wants, that he wouldn't get it anywhere else. And it seems like the Yankees aren't willing to match what he is wanting. I don't know. Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah. I mean, I think the question is, as I have the Braves LA game going on right now in the background, is this going to be another Freddie Freeman situation? Aaron Judge already kind of cementing himself as a Yankees legend, but definitely a face of the club right now, of the ball club. And it's really weird with contract negotiations, and I think Anthony Rizzo said it, of there's just no loyalty in this game, commenting on the Freddie Freeman contract situation. And another thing to note about this Aaron Judge thing is Brian Cashman, GM for the New York Yankees, going out on Twitter and tweeting that they offered him the specifics of their offer. Like, that's so weird. That's so random. That doesn't make, at least be like Alex Anthopoulos picking up his phone and saying, we offered Freddie this, but he didn't accept. And this is going into the season. Like, the season is going on, and Judge has to play with this looming over his head. And it's just kind of weird right now. And you even saw the Yankees benching Judge in the series against Baltimore and resting him when the season just started and losing. I don't know. It's just a little weird, but I don't know what Judge is looking for. You could maybe say he wants a change of scenery. I don't know what where his head is kind of at. The Yankees aren't giving him any reason to stay. If I'm being honest, I mean, they'll probably make the playoffs, but it's a team of, has excellence and expectations and hasn't really achieved that in quite some time. It's really weird. It's really weird, this whole situation, but I don't know. I'm curious to see the final numbers, what he can make. I think Aaron Judge can be worth $400 million, though, in my opinion. So, I don't know if he's going after that. I think when you know your worth, why not?
Yeah.
So,
dang. Well, we'll definitely be keeping you guys up to date on that. We'll be following it. Steve will definitely be following it. But yeah, we're gonna move into another sport, soccer. We're going to start talking about the Premier League. And Steve, I'm going to let you hop back into this because this is your team. Tottenham played Brighton over the weekend. It was at Tottenham, and Tottenham lost 1-0. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was a Trossard goal, the 90th minute, breaking the backs of the Tottenham supporters at home too. It was sad. Antonio Conte came out after the game and said a quote I really liked and kind of resonated with, especially given the Premier League specifically, is when you realize you can't win the game, you can't lose it. As in, you got to get the tie at least. And that's what this game looked like. The writing was on the wall. Brighton looked more threatening, more possession, more shots on goal. I don't think Tottenham had a shot on goal the entire game. And Tottenham, we didn't look good, obviously, but Brighton just looked better. Greg Potter, the coach of Brighton, he's a great coach, and he's been linked with some big clubs. And yeah, it was one of those games in the Premier League to where you don't necessarily come out and say the sky is falling for Tottenham. I think we'll be okay. I think we had won 5 in a row at this point. And we dropped some points. In a heartbreaking fashion, though. It was really disappointing, and I think that quote of yeah, you just have to find a way to not lose. That's important. That's huge when you're going for a top 4 finish. And I think Antonio Conte is like, it kind of gives me a glimpse and an insight to his managerial style, and I don't know, it kind of makes me honestly more confident hearing quotes like this and instilling into the players this culture of, all right, Dyer, Romero, Davies, like, you got to buckle it up at the back. And, it was unfortunate. It was a unfortunate situation with the last minute goal. I think we'll be okay. But yeah, so it was a classic. It was a classic 1-0 loss.
Yeah, for Tottenham there. Yeah, well, you look, I think Conte is a top 5 manager in the world. And I don't know if he wants to stay around, but I'm leaning towards like he's looking at Tottenham. I don't think he would have accepted it. Everyone knows where Tottenham was before he came in. I don't think he would have accepted it, as not being a challenge for him. I think I said that terribly, but like he's here for the project, I'll say. And the project, I think he's doing pretty well on, get Tottenham back to the Champions League. And so this game was in the morning, and Arsenal played, was it the same day? I believe after them. So Tottenham drops points. We're texting on the phone. I'm like, oh gosh, like now Arsenal gets the chance to hop back into 4th. Well, they choked against Southampton. I think Arsenal dominated like most of the statistical categories, as you would probably expect against Southampton. But I think it was a Bednarek goal in the first half. The only goal of the game, 1-0 to Southampton. It's so crazy how Arsenal has looked so good all year long. And then things that they had issues with last year, like scoring goals, right? It's just so funny to see something like that creep back in. And they had a chance, man. They had a chance to just take 4th back. They still have 1 game in hand going into these last, 7 games, I think, 6,
Something
7
like
games.
That.
They left it there. They left it on the table for Tottenham, and Tottenham kept it. Do you have any thoughts about that game?
Yeah, no Lacazette, and like you said, struggling in scoring goals. You lose Aubameyang, and you have this quote coming out from Lacazette talking about his contract situation at Arsenal, saying he misses Champions League football. It's been a while since I've played that, and I miss it. I think it was something like that. But he was talking about it in a way of leaving the club as opposed to trying to achieve top 4 with Arsenal. So you could say that definitely hinges on that, or he's looking elsewhere, but it's a little weird. But yeah, he missed the game with injury. But yeah, the wheels are falling off for Arsenal. They're dropping points left and right, and gave Tottenham a free pass.
Yeah, and I think we've mentioned this before, but I believe they have a harder run-in than Tottenham does towards the end of the season here. I think maybe even Man U, maybe. I'll have to look at it again. But yeah, speaking of Man U, Cristiano Ronaldo, what a world-class player he was, still will be forever and ever.
No, he's the problem over there.
Gosh. Yeah, the Man U media, the Man U fans are just they're laughable, man. Like, how can you say that this dude isn't the guy, or that he makes your team worse, whatever? Bro, he's saving your team. Literally, single-handedly saving your team. He was the only bright spot of the day, scoring a hat trick. And honestly, they were gifted one by Norwich. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, Norwich scored 2 goals on him. It was a 3-2 game. It was close. Like, it was back and forth. Like, Man U still looks like garbage. I think they're hoping the season ends soon. And Norwich are still bad. Do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, it was weird. I think Man U got off to a 2-0 lead to start it off, and then just we're sleeping. I don't get it. But Something I love about Ronaldo is just his versatility. Scoring with his head that game, also with the free kick, he can still do it.
Mhm.
I believe. What was the statistic on hat tricks before 30 and after?
I think he has 30 before the age of 30,
Yeah,
30 after the age of 30.
yeah.
Like fine
So
wine, baby.
yeah, like fine wine, and being a Tottenham fan, he scored a hat
Uh,
trick against us, and it's not all the time, but he's still scoring so many goals, and with the goal issues from, I mean, Sancho and Rashford, and what would you do without Ronaldo right now? So, but
he
yeah,
wouldn't be scoring goals. He'd be way lower down the table, I'll tell you that much.
yeah,
So yeah, all the Ronaldo haters, just respect him. All the Man U people, calm down. You're not where you used to be. I know you want to be, but there's still a couple games left, though. We never know. They could sneak into fourth, but my bets would be on Tottenham still to take it, which is crazy. Think back a couple weeks ago. We were like, I don't know. I was telling you guys to keep faith, but even I don't know if I believe myself. Trying to be a
yeah.
little bit optimistic. But yeah, that spot for fourth is still up for grabs. And it's really exciting here. So we'll be paying attention to that. Well, there's some midweek games this week, a lot of makeups from COVID and stuff from the beginning of the season, some reschedules as well. But when this episode comes out Tuesday, Liverpool will be playing Man United in Anfield. How do you think this game's going to go?
I believe the score of the last game was it. Didn't
Oh,
Am I mistaken in that? Didn't Man U get like slaughtered like 6-0? Or am I making that up?
I
I'm
wish Cole was here. Cole's memory is way better than mine.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I think Liverpool will dominate Man United. But then again, I mean, you look at the class of the players in Man U and everything, or it might have been the Man City game I'm thinking of. But I just think Liverpool and Man City are just leagues above better than Manchester United. So I would be expecting anything else other than a pretty confident and convincing Liverpool win.
Yeah, I think this is funny. This could be the game that wins Man City the title. Actually,
It's a good way to look at it.
Man U shows up on an odd day. They have the players to do it, right? But can they put it together? Can Ragnick get the guys rolling? You know, it might be a game that Man U will play better in. Um, I just don't know. Like I can't see Man U winning, but I want to say it'll be a good game still.
I'm here
Um,
for it.
I don't trust Manchester United's back line at all, but Anthony Elanga's coming alive. Who knows who's going to play, but he'll probably start because he's been in some sort of form. Ronaldo will definitely start. Then you have Sancho, who on his day can tear anybody apart. So it's just like it might be a good game for Ragnick and his tactics. Maybe he can play a little bit smart against Klopp, and I don't know, man. I really don't know. But if Liverpool drop this game, man, it's the title's Man City's. I'd say probably, maybe. I don't know if that's fair to say.
Probably.
But speaking of Man City, they also play later this week. I believe it's on Thursday. No, it's actually Wednesday. They play Brighton at home. We saw Brighton beat Spurs, like we just talked about. Brighton, they're coached very well, man. They're coached very well.
Yeah.
They had a dip in the middle of the season, but they seem like they're picking up a little bit of form recently. And they have good enough players to really hang in any game, sort of like a Leicester. I think Leicester's better, but good enough to hang in most games. How do you see this game going?
Yeah, I mean, City. City. Where I
Mm-hmm.
think Tottenham, where I saw how we dropped those points, we kind of play this long ball like Son and Kane, and it's Man City has Tottenham has two absolute world class players, and City has 11. So that's the difference there, and yeah, I think with that, I'm even watching against Atletico. City can break down a team even
Mm-hmm.
when the entire game plan is to sit behind. So I think City picks apart Brighton, and it's a pretty easy win for them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see it being like a 2-0 win, Man City. They score towards halftime and score one like later in the game, like at the death or something. Just a classic machine Man City game.
Yeah.
We will see. I mean, there's a couple other games I want to mention here. Everton play Leicester. This is one of their makeup games, I believe. Leicester, they're, middle of the road team. Probably we're expecting more this year, but they're okay. But Everton, like we've mentioned, their woes this year, gosh, they have been awful. But they win last week, I believe it was, and Burnley lost. Watford lost. Watford lost again this past week.
Mm-hmm.
So really, the only team that can probably catch them is Burnley at this point. And I'm not sure they're too worried about going down anymore, but that's where it gets tricky, right? Like that's where you can't think like that at all. You have to go and try to get 3 points from every game. It's at home at Goodison. I will say a 1-0 Everton win. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, Leicester just came off, I think, losing to Newcastle with a stoppage time goal.
Yes.
But no, I think Everton makes their fans a little bit more uneasy after this week. I think they lose. I think they lose to Leicester. Burnley just firing Sean Dyche. They got a draw up at West Ham. Maybe they're riding some momentum from that point. But yeah, I think Everton loses here. But I still think they're safe. But I think they give life to Burnley, which I think sits 3 points beneath them right now.
Yeah, Burnley could have won that game too. They missed a penalty. So who knows? Maybe this interim manager can give them a little bit of a bounce, and I don't know. And I'm all for that. I want that relegation battle. It's only going to be between two teams at this point, unfortunately. But I want it to happen. At least make the Everton fans sweat a little bit.
Yeah, even as a Tottenham fan, I think I might be more interested in the relegation battle going on right now than even the chase for the top four.
Sort of interesting, isn't it? And then the last one I want to touch on is a very interesting game actually. Chelsea versus Arsenal on Wednesday. It's at Chelsea. Take it away, man. I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, this is not a team on the fixture schedule that you want to see after dropping points against Southampton. You're hoping for maybe your Norwich or your maybe Newcastle or something, but no, it's Chelsea. And again, Chelsea needs to stamp their authority, and I feel like this happens so many times, whether it's a FA Cup or a Champions League game that they'll lose or something like that, where the pressure gets on and they respond in the Premier League. And you saw that when they came back, and I think they won 6-0 against Southampton. But I think Chelsea beats them. I think Chelsea beats them into the ground at Stamford Bridge. So much talent on this team. And there's something about when your team starts slipping or the going gets rough, it honestly feels like it just keeps getting worse when it comes to a lot of times in sports. And so part of it being a Tottenham fan, obviously I hope they lose. I think they will lose. Curious to see if Pulisic can get some game time in this. He's been kind of buried on the Chelsea depth chart a little bit recently. But yeah, I would be shocked if Arsenal gets a point out of this game.
Yeah. Man, Lukaku probably won't even play. There's been a lot of talk this week about them moving on from him. But Tuchel's been saying, no, he has a spot on his team. He just knows what he needs to do to work harder to get back in the team, and weird things happening there. But yeah, Chelsea's out of the Champions League after coming back and playing a great second leg against Real Madrid. Both legs, they did not look bad, by the way. They looked good. They played the FA Cup this past weekend, which they beat Crystal Palace. Am I right about that?
Yeah.
And they go into the finals where they'll play Liverpool, who beat Man City, if you didn't know. They're good. Chelsea's good. They're solid. And playing a slipping Arsenal team who's throwing away this fourth place, really. Like you said, you don't want to see Chelsea. You don't want to see Chelsea with 6 games to go. So I hope it's electric, though. I think the way both these teams are managed, I think this game will be up and down the pitch.
It'll be a fun game.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuning in. But yeah, that's really it on the Premier League this week. We might touch a little bit more on the weekend games on our Thursday. I guess it's our Friday episode. So stay tuned for that. But as we always do, I'm going to try to steal Cole's line again.
Come on.
We go across the pond to our favorite league in the world. It's the MLS. Steve, can you tell us what happened this weekend, please?
Yes, the league that is just oozing class and perfection. I'll start off with Atlanta United for the hometown boys. We lose another, not game, but key player to the squad. That's really the main storyline from the 0-0 draw with Cincinnati is Brad Guzan, non-contact injury. Came out, I believe today, that he ruptured his Achilles. So again, what I was saying about when the going gets rough, it seems to get worse. And that's the case with Atlanta United and injuries. Not good. Yeah, this is the worst thing right now, and I think expectations are starting to shift more and more for this Atlanta United team that still finds itself fourth in the East, pretty fortunately, in my opinion, with a lot of late game winners. So yeah, that's something to keep a lookout. Atlanta United have been linked to, I believe, a goalkeeper actually over in an Israeli soccer league, an American. I believe I saw that report today, and then. Yep. The first names that, we want to say over here at the Bad Fan Podcast, like, oh, just go out and sign Ethan Horvath. Easy, done deal.
It's not easy, but there's been a lot of talk about U.S. men's national team goalkeepers recently, especially with Zach Steffen's error over the weekend. How about none of them are getting consistent time wherever they're playing, and that they will need to going into this World Cup. So,
this is true.
With the transfer window coming up in the summer, Atlanta United has a good enough backup goalkeeper in Shuttlesworth. They can definitely get to the summer transfer window. And I don't know how it would work. We've had a couple people interact with us on Twitter, telling us about the rules, telling us potential ways that it could happen. I don't see Zach Steffen or Ethan Horvath making the move over unless it was for like a half-season loan.
I'll take it.
Which even then, I don't think they would be interested in. But who knows? We will see what happens with that. But yeah, Brad Guzan's injury, just really unfortunate.
Yeah, and a quick note on that too, in this whole goalkeeper situation, a little bit off the cuff is, you look at the United States men's national team and how Matt Turner broke into this team over the summer and a lot of these international tournaments. It's with consistent playing time in the MLS. It's with the New England Revolution. Before Zach Steffen was at Manchester City, it was the time in Columbus. It was the penalty shootout saves. It was impressing on that stage. And right now, this 17-year-old up in Chicago, Selena, tied for the most clean sheets in the MLS. And is starting getting his name thrown up there in the MLS. In the United States goalkeeper conversation. I'm not saying that the MLS is the key to breaking into this team, but you really haven't seen since Tim Howard, honestly, a U.S. goalkeeper that is playing consistently in Europe, that is also playing consistently on this U.S. men's national team. So I don't think it's that far off of a thing to why not go play every game in the MLS, get in some form of some sort, and it's usually translated to good form on the international side in recent history. But that's just a quick little note there. But anyways, MLS gets a bad rap. But going on.
Who knows? I don't know if Middlesbrough is in the fight for promotion. I think they are. They might be in the top 6 in the championship. So if Horvath, who knows? This might all be taken away. Right? If Horvath wins the starting job, they get promoted. He's the starting Premier League goalkeeper for Middlesbrough next year. Then I think we know who our number 1 is, right? So it's really interesting to see. The kid in Chicago, I think he might just be too young and not as experienced as I would want or be comfortable with.
For this World Cup cycle, for sure.
Definitely for this World Cup cycle. He hasn't played with any of the guys, so not yet, but maybe he makes a roster spot. Who who knows? But yeah, sorry, I'll let you go on.
No, you're good. I think he even came out before the season started and said he wants to get. I think he's 17 years old. He said he wants to get 17 clean sheets. So that would be insane, but
That'd be awesome.
ambitious. Moving on, we got Brandon's Toronto FC taking down number 1 in the East, Philadelphia Union, handing them their first loss on the season. And another thing, we got Austin FC coming all the way up to second place in the MLS Western Conference in their inaugural season, taking down DC United with a goal in the 90th minute to win 3-2. Quick note on Austin FC, they are tied with I believe the Galaxy, I'm pretty sure, sits atop in the West, or is it LAFC?
I believe it's LAFC. This is their second season, right?
Austin FC? Is it their second season? Am I making things up?
I think you said inaugural. I believe it's their second year. Yes.
Well,
sorry to check you. I'm just
no. We know we're all about fact checking here. Even if it's embarrassing our friends on this global scale. No, but Austin FC is tied with LAFC on, I believe, 17 goals scored this season in the MLS while only conceding 7. So that is the standard, and that's the best in the league right now, tied with LAFC on those stats. And we have NYCFC taking out their early frustration in the season of kind of underperforming by annihilating Real Salt Lake 6-0 on the back of 4 goals from Valentin Castellanos. If you were on the Twitter sphere, you saw maybe Real Salt Lake was poking fun before the match, making fun of NYCFC's tiny little banner.
It's not even straight, guys. It's not even like zip tied level. It's tilted.
Yes, so the Salt Lake admin, even after the game, says New York City is not where dreams are made of after losing 6-0. So a little bit of fun there on Twitter. But yeah, Castellanos coming into form, scoring 4 goals, and almost up to our Golden Boot leader right now, Brandon Vasquez, but not quite there.
That's crazy. That's just crazy to say, I think. But yeah, good for Tati Castellanos getting 4 goals. I think is he the only player to ever do that in my CFC history? I might have saw. Maybe the second player ever. Anyways, good for him. Maybe NYCFC will find some form in the league now that they're out of the CONCACAF Champions League. We'll see what happens. But as we do every week, the Fast Five, our MLS Fast Five. We made some predictions last week, and we are going to see who came out victorious. So Houston versus Portland, the game ended in a 0-0 draw. I think Houston also had a red card. Sort of boring. Cole said 2-0 Houston. Steve, you said 2-1 Portland, and I said a 2-2 draw. So I guess I'll take that one.
Yeah, you'll take it. You were 4 goals off, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'll take it. I said a draw at least. That's how we do things around here. The Red Bulls hosted a hot Dallas team. Cole actually said 1-1. You said 1-1 as well, and I said 1-0 New York Red Bulls. It was a 0-0 draw. Actually, I don't know if you got the chance to watch this game. It was a very entertaining game. New York Red Bulls look really, really good, especially playing a hot Dallas team. New York Red Bulls dominated the game from what I could see. But Dallas leads with a good away point, so good for them. Moving on, we had Minnesota versus not Columbus. It's Colorado. Minnesota won 3-1. And Cole nailed this one. He said 3-1 Minnesota. You said 2-1.
He's not here. We don't have to talk about him too much.
He'll see this. He'll see it later. But you said 2-1 Colorado. I said 2-1 Minnesota. Cole and I won that one, but he gets the extra point there because he nailed the score. Good for our guy. Toronto, like you said, my sort of preseason not favorite, but one I was sort of hyping up for.
Biggest
everybody.
Toronto fan there is.
Yeah, huge Bob Bradley guy here. Toronto beats, like you mentioned earlier, the undefeated Philadelphia Union 2-1. Cole said 2-0 Philly. You said 2-0 Philly. I stuck with the guys, and I said 1-0 Toronto. Though I didn't get the score right, I got the result right, and I will take the point there. And then, we've had a lot of 0-0 draws in our Fast Five this week. Atlanta United versus Cincinnati. It honestly could have been a 4-4 game. If you watched it, it was just crazy. A lot of misses. Atlanta United could have won it at the death. But like I said, 0-0 draw. Cole, again, nails this one, 0-0. You said 2-0 Atlanta, and I said 2-1 Atlanta.
I don't know what I was thinking with that one.
You were being optimistic. I watched it back. You were trying to be optimistic and Atlanta United sort of needs that right now.
Yeah.
Even though we're sitting in fourth, which is I didn't know that, so that's sort of crazy. But you had 2 of 5. I had 3 of 5. Cole also had 3 of 5 correct. However, since he got 2 exactly correct, he is the winner this week. Ding, ding, ding. So good for Cole. We will definitely be guessing or doing some more predictions in our Friday episode, so stay tuned for that. And then lastly, sort of sticking with the MLS, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. It's like the I'm not trying to get too into it here, but it's like the MLS's version, the United States version of like an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup. It's where the lower leagues can play in a tournament and they'll play against the MLS teams, and they'll play for a trophy, a competition that actually really matters. And I think it's 10 years old now.
It's the oldest competition in U.S. soccer. So who says U.S. doesn't have any soccer history?
Exactly. So the competition has been going on for a couple weeks. You've been able to watch games on YouTube and I believe Twitch. They've been streaming games too. So it's been pretty cool. I've caught a couple of those. But this is the first week that the MLS will enter the competition. So that's pretty exciting. The tournament hasn't been played since, was it 2019, I believe? So like right before COVID. And yours truly, the Atlanta United. They are the reigning champs, if you can really say that, because it does feel like forever ago at this point. It was a long time ago because Frank de Boer led the team to the trophy.
Against Minnesota.
Yeah, against Minnesota. Yeah. It was a great game. You remember that game?
Oh yeah, I was at that game with my dad and was beer in hand, standing on top of my seat, losing my mind. It was wonderful.
Yes, chanting the last, I think it felt like 10 minutes straight, the whole supporter section screaming.
God, it was amazing.
Was willing our team to victory there. I think because we had a red card, we were down a guy. It was a crazy game. Really, really fun.
It was Gonzalez Perez, I think. Go figure.
Classic. But yeah, so we're back in it. Thankfully, I really like this competition. But probably the biggest headline for the competition is maybe the most famous U.S. men's national team player ever. Maybe Landon Donovan, a household name, I'd say. He'll be going against his former team, the LA Galaxy, but not as a player. He is currently coaching the San Diego Loyal, so he'll be managing his team against the Galaxy. So that'll be a fun one if you're trying to watch one of these games. Are there any other games people should be looking out for, Steve?
Yeah, I think it's a fun thing is Tormenta FC getting this berth into this competition to our neighbors to the south in Statesboro. I think again, if they're playing the Birmingham Legion, and I don't know, just thinking on an MLS scale, and this isn't just MLS, there's also the USL that is in this competition as well. But just on the US soccer scale, I think I'd love to see Tormenta advance, and just to have 2 teams from Georgia in a professional soccer league tournament sounds like craziness. So that's a game that I'll be tuning into to hopefully support the Tormenta get into the next round.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun. I thought about buying their jerseys, or at least one of their jerseys, because they have some fun ones, some cool colors. Yeah, Miami FC hosts I had to get my jab at Inter Miami, a very bad Inter Miami team. Steve was laughing at me earlier because he read it. And he was like,
that beat Seattle this past week in the MLS.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't know if I realized that. Good for them. That was their second win, right?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they're finding a hot streak. But it's at Miami FC, so that's interesting. We'll see what happens there. Atlanta United will host the Chattahooligans, and they will play for the second time ever, I believe. The first time competitively. You remember the first time we watched them play?
Absolutely. And we were in Chattanooga, and I believe we were sitting right next to their supporter section.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe one of their chants were after we'd already put 4 goals in their net was, "We're gonna beat you in the U.S. Open Cup." And at that point, I didn't even know what that was. And so we'll see if they make good on their promise about 5 years later.
They definitely could. I can't see that, but it's a tournament, right? We always say it's a tournament style. You never know, one-off games, what is going to happen. The Greenville Triumph will host Charlotte FC. It'll be a good test for Charlotte as it's their first time in the U.S. Open Cup. Orlando City will play the Tampa Bay Rowdies. I just threw that in there because I like the Tampa Bay Rowdies name. And then good USL teams here. Phoenix Rising FC, who Didier Drogba, Chelsea legend, actually played for and retired after 2018 from Phoenix Rising. They will host New Mexico United, so a little bit of a Central Western game there. But yeah, I think that really about wraps us up. I'm going to put some things on your guys' radar for the next couple of weeks. The NFL draft is happening April 28th. I think it goes for 4 days, but really only watching the first round is what's worth it. I'm sure we'll talk about it in one of our future episodes. The NHL playoffs are also starting in the first week of May. It's May 2nd. And we need to get a hockey guy in here. I try to follow it as much as I can, but
I was about to say, you're the big hockey guy. Come on.
I have been to a couple of Blue Jackets games this year that I do have their notifications turned on. So
hey, Reese Fleming, Jacob Berry, we're looking at you.
Yeah, I think we might get Jacob on or some, just somebody to talk about it for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And then, we're also working on getting another gaming episode out because we all had a good time making that. Hopefully you had a good time watching it. We're going to try to get that one out soon. Maybe next week. We'll see. Get Andrew back in here. And then finally, something that's a little further out, but Cole mentioned it. We are all set for our trip to Nashville later in May. So we're trying to plan some fun content around that trip. It's not going to be the main focus of the trip because we're obviously trying to see each other because we hadn't seen each other in a while. But I think it's a cool opportunity to maybe make something happen. So Cole's putting his brain on it, and it should be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you again for tuning in today. If you enjoyed our time together, just drop a thumbs up, drop a like. It only takes a second and it helps us out a whole bunch. Again, subscribe if you're not already. We're trying to get 100 subs by the summer. So if you want to help us get there, do your part, share it with a friend, share it with 5 friends who you think might be interested. We would greatly appreciate it. And then lastly, get involved with us. Get into the comments. We definitely check the comments. We'll definitely start making some more shorts as well. Try to get some traction that way. But yeah, get in the comments, interact with our Instagram page and also our Twitter page as well. That's new. We made it about a week ago. So that's been fun. Yeah, there's going to be a link tree in the description. So click on that. You'll find everything you need to. But yeah, thanks again for joining us. All of us here at the Bad Fan Podcast. Hope you have a great day, and we will see you in the next one. Until then, peace.